So for this lesson, we will be starting in Google Forms. You will create and send a Google form. The overview for this lesson is that it is time to begin planning Carver High School's annual academic achievement banquet. The planning committee has asked you to help plan the dinner menu that will be served on the night of the banquet. Each student invited to the banquet will fill out an online form so the planning committee can offer menu options that are most preferred. Some new skills you'll learn is, again, how to create a form, use the form settings, add form description, create a question, select question type, yada, yada, yada. Okay. Some of you have created forms in Google so far. Some of you haven't. It's relatively easy and very useful, especially for things like this. So we'll go ahead and get started. So the first thing you need to do is make sure you're signed into your Google Drive, and then once you're on the home Google page, go to your Google Drive. And then over where it says New, go to More, and then click on Google Form. Okay. So we did that. Now we're going to rename our form Lesson 5.1, and then, of course, your name. So up at the top where it says Entitled Form, type Lesson 5.1, and then your name. Okay. Now we're going to tap into the form settings. There are 3 form settings used in Google Forms. We will be showing our progress bar. It says this setting can be used when a form has more than one page. We will allow 1 response per person, which requires someone to log into their Google account. Users may only submit the survey 1 time and must have a Google account. C, shuffle question order. The questions in the survey will be randomly shuffled for each user who takes the survey. Okay, perfect. So let's see what we have to do. To give your online survey a title in the form content box, title field, type Banquet Menu Planning. So right where it says Lesson 5.1 Alexa, we're going to type Banquet Menu Planning. And then we're going to add a form description. So to inform the recipient of the purpose of the survey, in the form description field, type Please help the committee members plan for the upcoming academic achievement banquet. Okay, so we're just going to type text that they have there. Make sure you don't spell anything incorrectly. And some of this is covered. Academic. Okay, now that we have our description in, we're going to create a question. And to add a question to our survey, in the question title box, type 1, okay, and then select a main dish. Okay, so right here in our first question, just click in this box, and then you can begin typing. And type select a main dish. Okay, then it's going to have us select the question type. And to determine the type of question we would like to use from the question type drop-down menu, select multiple choice, which in Google Forms, it's already defaulted to that. So we already have our multiple choice selected. Now we have to add some options. So let's see what options it wants us to add. Okay, so the options that we're going to add include chicken and rice. And then once you have one option in, you're just going to click add option. And then we need vegetarian, lasagna, baked ham, and cheese ravioli with marinara sauce. Okay, so make sure that the options that you just added are very similar to these, no spelling errors or anything. I think we're ready to move on to number 10. So for this, we're going to click done to add the question to the survey. Again, this is for an older version of forms. These instructions are, so really all you have to do is just click out somewhere. Once you're completely done with your survey, your questions will post, but for now, there isn't a done button on here, so you don't have to worry about doing number 10. But we will edit one of our questions, and it says to edit a question has been added to the survey. Do the following. Click the edit icon. Again, we can just go in and edit these directly. We don't need to click any edit icons or anything like that. We want to delete roast pork tenderloin from the option list. So this option right here, we can just go over to the right and remove by clicking the X. So go ahead and click on that. All right, we have just removed roast pork tenderloin from our options. But instead, we're actually going to add another option, which will be teriyaki beef. So again, we're just going to click on the add option, and we're going to type teriyaki beef. Okay. And then number 12, we're going to add another question. So how you add a question in Google Forms is there's going to be a little plus sign right by your first question. Click on that, and you have successfully added a new question. Okay, so it says using 5.1 figure A, enter the remaining questions and options. Okay, so let's see what figure 5.1A. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add all these questions and add all these options without any spelling errors or anything like that. Okay, now that I'm done entering in all of my questions and options, let's go to the next set of instructions. Number 14, it wants us to view the live form so that we can preview our survey prior to sending it to anyone. So how we do that is we are going to go to the eyeball at the top. It's a little different than what your instructions say, but if you click on this eyeball, it's going to give you a live preview of the form that you just created. So you can take a look at that, make sure you didn't make any mistakes. We're going to now exit out of our live form because everything looks good, checks out. All you have to do is click the X on your tab. Okay. So we're going to move on to number 16 because we just did number 15. Okay, so we got to make sure that we can accept responses. So from the responses menu, we want to ensure that accepting responses is turned on. So how we do that is really simple and a little different than what your instructions say to do. So all you have to do is go to responses, and this is where you'll see a record of who has responded to your form. It's defaulted to say accepting responses, so if this is not checked, then make sure that you check it. But it should already be checked, so we are accepting responses. So number 17 is just going to have you proofread your survey for accuracy. You'd never want to send a form that had any spelling errors or grammatical errors or anything like that. So 18, our form should look similar to 5.1 figure A. So go ahead, take a look at that, make sure everything looks good. So 19, typically to collect responses, you would send your survey to several recipients. In this lesson, I want you to send your survey to yourself. So how we send a form is we're just going to click the send button here at the top. Okay, and it's going to ask you to type an email. So go ahead and type your own. Okay. In the subject field, it wants us to type your response needed as shown below. Okay, so where it says subject, we're going to backspace all of this and type your response needed. And then in our message, we're going to backspace what's defaulted in our form, which is I've invited you to fill out a form. Instead, we're going to type, please help plan the banquet menu by taking our survey. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and click send. Okay, so you should have just gotten your own form. Okay, so, and then it says in the choose response destination dialog box, be sure that the new spreadsheet radio button is on, then click create. Okay, so again, fairly simple. All you have to do, again, our instructions are a little different. If you go to the responses option, there is a create spreadsheet option here. If you click on that, you can create a spreadsheet that shows all of your responses. It's kind of pointless to do this right now because no one has filled out the form. But eventually this will be filled up the more people you send it to. So pretty useful to do that. Then 23 says you should now see the lesson 5.1 form in your My Forms folder. That will be in your Google Drive. You can respond to this in your email. But what I'd like you to do is go ahead and submit your form to Google Classroom. When you submit it, I want you to have at least one response, so you'll have to go in and select your favorite dishes, all of that. I hope you know that too when you do have responses. So when you go in and you respond to all your questions, you can go in and look at the data and see how people respond to your form. So again, very useful for various things. This will be due by next Sunday, May 3rd. All right, have a great week.